Welcome back to the Venue Podcast. I am Kinsey Roberts.
And I am Lindsay Lucas. Together, we are the Venue Podcast. Today, we are going to be talking all about content consistency. Kinsey's actually going to share 6 tips on being consistent within your content and thus increasing your visibility.
hmm I created these 6 tips for myself, which I just want to come out and be honest about that. Lindsay knows this because she knows me incredibly well. Consistency and accountability, and we're going to talk about both of those, have been my Achilles heel for years in my professional life, in my personal life. And 2026 is really the year I was like, okay, I've had enough. Like, what can we do about this? Really, 2025 when I started conceptualizing all of this. But it was something I knew I had to solve because it actually impacted my bookings in 2025. Um, it impacted the bookings for 2025 at Vista View Events, which is my wedding venue. So which would have been right, the visibility plan in 2024. And so when that happened, went through it, got through it, and that's all great, but it was a real problem. So I created this plan and we're going to go through these 6 tips so you can take those tips, run with them. If you're someone who even has a slight similarity to me, and I'm sure you're not as bad by any means, but even if you are slightly not accountable, slightly not consistent, and you really need some help with that, you're in the right place today.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like I can confidently say you definitely are not alone in this. I feel like it's probably most venue owners, especially when it comes to content, creating content, posting content, showing up online, like consistency is the hardest part about content and putting content out there. I know for myself personally, I will put client work or household chores, like literally anything that I possibly can ahead of showing up on Instagram. That's me too. So I'm thankful that you put together these 6 tips. I'm excited to hear them. And I think that it's going to be super helpful for everyone listening.
Thank you. Me too. And just so you guys know, just so you guys watching or listening, I put my notes right here because honestly, like I said, I created this outline for myself, and that was the impetus for this episode. So I'm going to be looking at my notes because I just want to make sure I hit everything and I don't miss anything for you guys. So let's just dive into the 6 tips. The first thing that I have found for myself, and I've been really poor at this in the past, but it's something that I am getting over, with this plan that I put in place and with this product that I put in place. And that is tip number one, isolation is our enemy. Isolation as a venue owner in the wedding industry is absolutely our enemy. I fully believe that wholeheartedly. I am absolutely someone, and I'm sure I'm on record in some podcast on the Venue podcast or She Creates Business saying, like, I like to work alone. I'm by myself all day. I'm like an introvert, or I just am not someone who like wants to be in an office. And I'll tell you what, those things can still be true. Maybe you don't want to be in an office. Maybe you don't want to always be working with someone. But more often than not, what I've actually found to be true is that yes, I do get energy from being alone and recharging, but when I do my best creative work, I'm actually surrounded by other people who are also doing their best creative work, whether they work for me, whether they are other business owners in the wedding industry, and whether I'm on Zoom with Lindsay and we're just doing a co-working session, that has been huge for me, or anybody else in the wedding industry, those co-working sessions on Zoom. And here's the key though, here's the key. What I have found is that when I'm co-working with someone, either in person or on Zoom, they have to be in the game too. I
Yeah.
don't want to be like, that's the key. I've definitely had it both ways. And I've been like wanting to be serious. I'm in the game. And the other person is just like, oh, I want to talk to you about this random thing. Or I'm not really serious. I'm not really growing my business. I have no goals. I don't know what I'm doing. And they kind of want to have a therapy session. That's not what I'm talking about. That
Yeah.
actually like brings me down more so than anything. So isolation is the enemy. Put yourself in situations where you are co-working with people who understand your industry or at least understand your goals and have similar or even better, bigger goals than you do so that you can feed off of each other's energy. Isolation is the enemy. You've got to get out of your head. You've got to get out of your little 4 walls in your house, and start working with people who also have goals.
Agreed. I think also like if you're going to do co-working sessions, like setting the agenda or not necessarily the agenda, but the expectation ahead of time, right? Like this is what this is for. This is what it is not for, right? Like that's super helpful.
Yeah. Oh, I think you just hit the nail on the head. Not even just setting the agenda, but saying this is what we're not going to do.
Yeah.
I feel like that's so huge because oftentimes it can sort of turn into a therapy session. I know I'm guilty of that for sure. Like I'm guilty of like needing a therapy session and I kind of distract people from their work. And so that's been really helpful to say like, hey, here's what we're not doing today. It doesn't mean those aren't valuable, just schedule them otherwise.
Right.
Yeah,
Agreed.
ugh, yeah, love that. I'm glad you said that. So the other one, this is this really like tailors nicely into number two of these 6 tips to increase your visibility and marketing consistency, and that is the accountability effect. So I have told Lindsay this and my husband a ton, and that is that, and you know, I heard Dan Martell say it this way on his podcast. I will do so much more for another person. He says, I will do 10 times more for another person than I will for myself. And I have
Yep.
found that to be so true. And if you're someone who feels that way as well, the accountability effect is like deep in you. And that can be really hard to overcome as a business owner in the wedding industry because oftentimes we are working solo. This has been incredibly challenging on my end of things because I have a seasonal venue. I don't even operate full time with physical in-person events. I'm still working year round, but right, that I'm doing that like very internal background administrative work for 6 months out of the year. It's so easy for me to have no accountability because I can just be like, I'm hibernating. I'm not looking at anybody. No one's watching. And so like, the accountability effect has been huge for me. And like I say, that really goes along with getting rid of that isolation that is deeply impacting your productivity and getting out and getting into those rooms, be they in person or virtual, where you're doing your best work creatively, conceptually with other people who also want the same thing as you do. That's been massive for me. I have got to have accountability. I don't know if anybody else feels that way. You know, I watch people who are, gosh, they're just so much better at business than I am. And I think and you know, a lot of you watching are probably this way. I have so much respect for you being able to just sort of like pull yourself up by your bootstraps, be self-motivated all the time, get everything done that you need to get done. And like I say, I have so much respect for that. But I have found that I just don't have that as much as I need to. And that has really impacted my ability to be consistent in my visibility and marketing. And so having accountability when it's people who know what I'm supposed to be posting, when I'm supposed to be posting, and they can say like, I see you, great job, or like, hey, where are you at today? What's going on over there? Lindsay actually did that for me today. That has really helped me move forward and just show up.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that. So, practically speaking, like what would be someone's first step for finding an accountability buddy?
Mhm. I think this is my opinion, so don't hate me, guys. But I really believe that you've got to get out of your friend group in the industry
Oh, yeah, I love that.
for true accountability. I really do. Again, please don't hate me. It is so easy. It's so much easier for us to tell our friends, people who love us, right? They want the best for us no matter what. It's not because they're bad or we're bad. It's because they love us. So they want to like comfort us. They are
Mhm.
comfortable. They are comforting. And so when you say, I don't want to show up today, I'm feeling some kind of way. I'm not motivated. I need to go off and do this other thing, i.e. housework or whatever it is, or because I'm not organized. You know what I mean? Your
Right.
friends in the industry will let you off the hook because, and it's not a respect thing. It's just like I said, it's a comforting thing. They are your comfort zone. So, in my opinion, your actual accountability partnership, your accountability group, it really needs to be people that you, simply put, it needs to be people that you would be embarrassed failing in front of.
Yes,
Period. Like I hate to say it that way, but that's what it is.
that's true.
You need to be embarrassed by failing in front of them. Like
Yep.
if I tell my mom, listen, I didn't do that. I know I said I was going to. She's like, whatever, I love you anyway. I'm your mom. So I don't feel embarrassed. Makes no difference to me. I have friends
Right.
like that. My brothers, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if there's people I feel embarrassed in front of failing, oh, you can bet your I'm not going to say it on video. Like you bet your butt, like I am in the game, and I absolutely do not want to be embarrassed in front of them. So that's how I look at it. Please find a group that you are not so close to emotionally that they will just let you off the hook.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that kind of speaks again and proves your point just a little bit further as far as like being surrounded by people that are just like 3 to 5 steps ahead of you in the game, right? Because
Come on.
like I don't want to fail in front of those people. I don't want to prove why I am 3 to 5 steps behind them. I want to show
Mhm.
like I'm doing everything I can to keep not just keep up with you, but to get to your level, right?
Come on. Yeah. And I think too is having someone whether it's one person or a couple of people who are genuinely invested in the amount of work you're doing. So we've seen this before, right? Like this is paid masterminds. This is
Yeah.
coaches, like
Yeah.
one-on-one coaches, small group coaches. That's
Hmm.
why those programs actually work.
Yeah.
Memberships, because you are paying someone and they are invested in your success. And I think sometimes I think the reason more so like having that one-on-one coaching, having that small group coaching can be more successful sometimes than memberships is because you can't um you can't pull a Homer Simpson and like fade into the bushes. Like you can't fade into the background. Like you feel like you
Yeah.
can do in a membership. You're like, oh, it's $20 a month. Nobody's calling me out. Who cares? But that's why you can feel more successful and there's a lot more accountability is because you have your coach looking you in the eye saying you are not performing.
Yeah, yeah. Plus there's the investment element of it too, right? Like the
Yeah.
monetary part of it to where it's like, and I'm sure there's like somebody in the psychology world is going to know that there's a term for this, but for me, when I make not a massive investment, but something that just like slightly stretches me,
Totally.
the competitive spirit in me is activated to where I'm like, I'm competing with myself.
Mhm.
The timer starts as soon as I hit submit, and how quickly can I make my ROI back on this investment, right?
Mhm.
So that I feel like that's an element of it too. Like I have invested my hard-earned money, my time, my energy, my resources. Like I want to get a return on this as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I think that really leads me into number three because I think that is what trips people up is that exact thing. It's not tripping them up, but they want to know the answer to that. How fast can I get my money back? And
Yeah.
one of the roadblocks that they hit when it comes to accountability and consistency is this massive decision fatigue problem. They, instead of doing the activity, I am guilty of this, I will replay something in my brain like, what should I post? What should I post? What should I post? What should I post? And instead of actually performing the action, which is, scooping my entire month long content calendar and just hitting schedule, all I'm doing is hitting this decision fatigue loop. And then therefore, I'm like, well, I can't like get myself to move forward. So therefore, I know I'm not going to get an ROI. So I'm going to cancel or I'm not going to spend the money because I can't see that path forward for
Yeah.
overcoming the decision fatigue roadblock, which you guys can see how these all fit together. How do you overcome the decision fatigue roadblock? You have someone telling you what to do.
Yeah.
That's the
You have a
easiest
plan.
thing. You have a plan. You have someone telling
Yeah.
you what to do. Why is it that project managers and integrators are so popular in online business and in any business? It's because they do it for you. Like
Right.
it's brilliant that you have to have someone telling you what to do, and you have to have not even telling you what to do because it's very easy for you not to do it, right? You have to have someone moving you along. That's what an
Yeah.
integrator does. That's what a project manager does. They get the thing done. And that's what helps just eliminate decision fatigue because immediately you're hitting play on all of those ideas. And so I think that if we are someone like Lindsay and our competitive spirit is activated and we immediately want to get an ROI on this, we have to recognize when we're hitting decision fatigue so that we can overcome that by true action. And how do we overcome that, right? It goes back to the accountability of a person you'd be embarrassed in front of failing and that person being invested in your success and giving you the roadmap to follow.
Yes. I love that. I love that.
Mhm.
Okay, so those are three really strong points. I feel like we could end the episode there, but you have three more.
We're over by. Yeah.
No, we're not over. Wait, I
We're
want to
not
hear the
leaving.
rest.
We're not leaving. I do. So one of the things, I want to make sure that I hit this. Okay, this is a big one. So there's actually multiple books about this. The first one I ever read was about tip number 4, which is why, what kind of accountability is more important? Is it monthly? Is it quarterly? Is it once a year? This is my opinion, but I think it's correct. Um,
Yeah.
I truly believe, and I'm going to back it up with some books and some information. I believe that weekly accountability, weekly, I'm going to say it again. I believe that weekly accountability from a person or a group you would be embarrassed to fail in front of is more important than monthly accountability because it does not give you the opportunity to slink back into your old ways. There's 30 days in a month. And what is the age-old saying? It takes 21 days to build a habit. So if you have only monthly accountability, you have 21 days to like you're constantly at the restart button because it takes 21 days to build a habit. So you have a full 30 days to get a full month to get rid of it. So like if
Yep.
you meet with someone on March 1st, congratulations, you have over 21 days to make sure that that's not a habit.
Yeah. Versus weekly and it's compounding and you're riding that momentum.
You're riding the momentum. It is compounding, which I told you I would back this up with books. That is exactly right. Here's a couple that you can read if you want to. Atomic Habits. He talks about how small wins compound daily. There's a book called The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. He says this exact thing. The first book I ever read was years ago, which I think is the impetus for all of these more recent books. It's called The Slight Edge. And those all are, they all say the same thing in different ways, which is that small wins done consistently compound like you would not believe.
Okay, so real quick, give me that list again. First one was Atomic Habits. I'm putting them in our notes so that we can later link them in the show notes for people. So we have Atomic Habits. What was the next one?
Oh yeah, you bet. So Atomic Habits, James Clear, The Compound Effect, Darren
Hmm.
Hardy, I think. And then the final one, which is the oldest one on this list, is The Slight Edge. I forgot who wrote that. Jeff Olson? I might have just made that up.
Got it.
Okay. Small wins done consistently compound. I am a huge proponent of weekly accountability over monthly or any other shorter term accountability. Especially, again, you guys, I told you at the beginning, I wrote this for myself. I created this for myself. And I'm the poster child for lack of accountability, lack of consistency. So I knew that if I didn't structure this in an appropriate way to actually bring me to some sort of success, like bring my goals and vision to fruition, that I would never stick with it. And so it's, like Lindsay can't be my only accountability partner because she does care about me more than other people. And I'm just lucky that I'd be embarrassed to fail in front of her. But you've got to have other people outside of that, right?
Right.
So as we talk about small wins, compounding, weekly accountability, there's a component to all of that, like weekly accountability, having a group that you want to impress in a healthy way. So please don't hear what we're not saying. We're talking about, being impressive in a healthy way that allows you to achieve your goals. And this is tip number 5, which is that social component. This actually also harkens back to number 1, which is that isolation is the enemy. For many years, kind of this is my 10th year in the wedding industry as we record this. And so for many years, sort of sandwiched in the middle of those 10 years, I really was like, I can do it on my own. I don't need anyone. Kind of like I said, right? Like I didn't even consider the word isolated or I am isolated. I feel isolated because I was like big bad Kinsey. I'm super tough. I don't need anybody. And what I really was missing was that social component. I find so much value in not just knowing that other venue owners are working in the trenches with me. I can't just know it, right? It can't just be like this peripheral knowledge. I have to see it. And I get so much value from speaking directly with other venue owners and understanding what they're going through. I just had a Zoom call with one of my favorite people in the world last week. We both got on Zoom. We've both been in the industry, the wedding venue business industry, for about the same amount of time. And we actually both have really similar goals over the next couple of years. And I had no idea because I hadn't touched base with her for a couple of months. And so it's kind of blowing my mind that her and I have such similar goals. And I knew we'd been in the industry the same amount of time. And so it just really breathes life into me to have this social component. Not only does it help with accountability, but it also helps me I've really found that it helps me move forward in a way that I'm a little more even keeled. Like there's more logic to my steps. There's
Yeah.
more, you know what I'm saying? There's more information because I'm not just in this echo chamber in my brain. Like I know everything. I know what to do. I know what's going on here. When people who you respect, who are in the same industry, can kind of like speak into your business and they say, "Hey, I've
Yeah.
seen this before," or, I was chatting with another venue owner in Texas about this or what have you. And they kind of tell you, like, here's what she experienced. Man, it gives me so many good ideas. So that social component, knowing you're not alone, that's a huge factor in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, I could see where that would really benefit other venue owners as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Last one, because we're talking about the social component. It's not the only thing, right? We've talked a lot about accountability and all of these things you might think like, well, gosh, it feels like I have someone sort of breathing down my neck and it could feel that way. But I actually feel like the goal is more so to bring you live accountability to your daily actions than trying to force self-directedness. That's that's my last tip, my sixth tip. Like that's what I wrote down for myself. I am self-directed in a lot of things, right? Like I
Yeah.
know what my kids need, when to pick them up, well, my home, all of those things. Like it doesn't mean you're an idiot, right? Like, and that's what I had to
Right.
tell myself. Like I'm not an idiot. I'm pretty intelligent.
Yeah.
But I have to have these checkpoints where live accountability, when you have live accountability, there's no one guessing. There's no, like I said, hiding in the bushes. Um, the self-directedness will only get you so far. If you
Yeah.
are a person who thrives on that accountability and consistency, your self-directedness is only going to get you so far. Because it's there, it's just like working out. At some point, you're not going to be motivated. Like there's
Yeah.
going to become a day. It doesn't matter how self-directed you are, where you're not motivated. And the key is, and what I have found from this list for me, is that if I can put all of these things in place, like I know what I'm posting, I know what my content calendar is, I know who's watching, I know who I have to answer to,
Yeah.
then whether I feel good or not that day becomes irrelevant. And that's the
Yeah.
goal.
Yeah. Yeah. So give
Mhm.
me an example of what self-directed would be. Like I know you gave the mom example, which I'm sure a lot of us can relate to, but like in business, what do you mean? Like, give me an example.
So, like, you mean what's an example of somebody who is self-directed versus someone who's not?
Well, I understand like the personality traits, right? But like, are we just talking about like you need something more than a project management system that you're just going and clicking on a list and scratching things out? Like you need more than that, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. I love this question. And yes, to answer your question. So, well, here's a perfect one since we're talking about like marketing and visibility. So, anyone, especially with Claude and ChatGPT, anybody can go create a content calendar. Anyone. We
Yeah.
all can. Like I could create one right now on video and it would be pretty
Yeah.
good. Um, that's self-directed. I can go create a content calendar,
Gotcha.
right? I am also self-directed if I actually put that content calendar on my desk and I get into Pinterest, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram, and I create 4 types of posts for each of those platforms that is conducive to those platforms based on the topic on my content calendar, and I schedule a full month of content. That is self-directed.
Gotcha.
The issue is that most of us watching are not going to do that. We can go create content. We're really good at ideas and like creating content. This is me. Man, I could create ideas and calendars and programs and I could like and analyze your business and all of this. Like I could do all of that for you. And I can do it for myself too. The issue comes for me and I don't know if you watching feel the same way. My issue is that I won't take the next step because I'm missing the accountability. I have a
Yeah.
content calendar, but I won't use it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That
Not
makes
self-directed in that way, unless I have the appropriate accountability.
Yeah, yeah. I have an entire Google Drive folder full of digital downloads that I was going to read and implement, and they just go in a Google folder to die and collect dust. So,
Oh,
yeah,
Lindsay, you hit the nail on the head. Everybody watching this, me too. This is disgusting, actually. I've spent tens of thousands of dollars over the last 10 years on education,
Hmm.
courses,
Hmm.
digital downloads. This thing is going to make you $1 million type of stuff. Like, you should do this, you should do that online. And it all goes into a folder to die. And
Yeah.
it's because there's no accountability. Like, that's my exact point.
Right.
You're self-directed enough to know that's probably a good idea. Not just you, all of us. We are self-directed to know or to know that this course is probably a great course. But the problem is we have no accountability to implement.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed.
Mhm.
Also to like I had a thought while you were talking and I didn't want to interrupt you, but going back to like the AI stuff, right? Like AI is fantastic. It is not going anywhere. It is the next evolution of business. It's actually already here that it is the evolution of business, and if you're not utilizing it, what are you doing? But and that's a conversation for another day. But to your point, I can go and input things all day long on my own and create a content calendar, but I'm only as good as like the AI that it spits out to me is only as good as the prompt that I feed it. And that prompt is only as good as what is in my brain alone versus if I have accountability partners or a group that I can speak to and be like, hey, what are y'all doing? What are y'all putting in to get this? What's it spitting out for you? Like, I can tweak it and tinker with it just enough to get that next level that goes beyond my own limitations, right?
Mhm. Yeah, your own understanding, your own ideas.
Right,
hmm
right. Yeah.
hmm Yeah, and I agree with that. One of the things that, well, here's an example. I agree, and I think that's one of the best ways we can. I think it takes a couple of things. Sorry. It takes humbleness, A, to say that. I don't know what I don't know. I'm
Right.
not always good at that, but it does. And the second thing is we don't have to understand every single part of the system, or we do have to understand it, but we don't have to be doing every single part of the system, right? It goes back to why are integrators and project managers so valuable? It's because they are doing that part of the system. So I think we need to know enough to be dangerous about let's make it this example for visibility and marketing. We need to know enough to be dangerous, but we may not need to be doing every single part of the system, and that's actually what could be more productive for us. So I'll give you an example. I have been really passionate about learning AI, and yet I know that I can't just teach, like I'm not just getting on the internet to just be like, feed me AI information. I don't just ask chat to feed me AI information. I have found other people. Rick Mulready is one of them, and Marketing Against the Grain is specifically Kieran Flanagan, who is one of the VPs at HubSpot. Those are the people I learn AI from, how to prompt better, how to create AI agents, how to what can I input into my AI's memory so that it speaks in my voice. These are all things that I know now, but I know that they are out there, like, I mean, they are just engineering all of these ideas and spending hours and hours of their life, because it's literally their job to like spread all of this AI education to the rest of us. So I count on them for that information. Then I implement it into my own business and my own industry and my clients because I take that seriously. And then I can create a product using those skills I learned from them to help other people. The point of that is that you have to decide which piece of that map fits you the best.
Yes. Yeah. Where do your strengths lie to be able to
Where do
utilize
your
them?
strengths lie?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
like
then where can you fill in the gaps?
correct. Like I'm no Rick Mulready. That's why I'm in his AI playbook. I'm
Yeah.
no Kieran Flanagan. That guy is so brilliant and he is so genuinely interested. But I absolutely am super interested in all of the content they're both putting out. And that's what makes me more advanced at AI than a lot of my wedding industry peers. But I'm not interested in like teaching them all of that. But I am interested in taking those skill sets that I can learn from people like Rick Mulready and Kieran Flanagan and applying them in the wedding industry to help my clients.
Yes, yes. I love that. I love that so much.
Thanks.
Okay, so if somebody is looking, you gave six really incredible tips for increasing consistency and accountability, which will obviously increase visibility within content creation for venue owners. But um, what is like, where does somebody go next? Like these tips are great, but like how do they implement?
Yeah. I am, like I said, my 2024 visibility and marketing was so on a downhill trajectory that I had to spend months and months and months recalibrating, researching, reassessing, and literally pulling my business out of a hole in order to come back stronger starting in 2025, early 2025. But, of course, as we know as wedding professionals, that doesn't help us until the following booking season, right?
The ripple
It
effect is real.
The ripple effect is so real. Now, I'm proud to say this, that I was able to do that. And I'll tell you how and what has resulted is that I admitted it. I was so down that my 2025 bookings fell for that. But now, because I was able to recalibrate, reassess, and implement more consistency, accountability, and most importantly, consistency and accountability in my marketing plan, I've tripled my bookings for 2026 as we record this
That's
from
nuts.
2025. It is nuts. It is nuts. And yet I told you guys my Achilles heel is so much consistency and accountability, but I am humble enough to admit it, and I knew I had to do something about it. And so while it is absolutely crazy, it is totally doable. And so I talked to Lindsay about this and I was like, this is what I'm conceptualizing. Like, here's everything I've done. Here's my content plans. Here's how I think of new content to post. Here's what I'm talking about during my tours. Here's everything that I'm doing. I want other venue owners to have this. I want them to have this. I don't know if anybody's bookings were ever as down as much as mine were because they're probably not as garbage human as I am.
Stop.
But if you felt like your bookings are down, if you have felt like, wow, those 6 tips that we just gave you hit the nail on the head, and you want to know more about what I've been doing, I want to share it with you. It's called the Venue Marketing Machine. I want you to go to thevenuemarketingmachine.com. You can learn more. You can contact me through that page to ask questions. Bottom line is it is a group, including me, specifically one-on-one. It's a group that, what did I tell you? You're embarrassed to fail in front of, respectfully. You make a small investment. It's a quarterly membership. And that's what's going to help keep you accountable because we want a return on your investment. It's someone checking your work. That's me, 10-year veteran of the wedding industry, 15-year veteran of the marketing industry. And it is people who want you to win because they're not in the same exact market that you're in. That's how we keep the membership growing and going. And that's how we keep marketing professionally, by getting ideas from people who are doing it differently than us and not the venue down the road. And that's on me. So thevenuemarketingmachine.com. If you're interested, hit it up, contact me, reach out, and let's get going on your marketing. If you are someone who, like me, needs to increase your bookings.
I love that. Okay, can I
Thank
ask
you.
like uh, a nosy question?
Ooh, yeah.
Okay, so let's just say there's a venue owner in Texas and they want to invest in the venue marketing machine, right? But they're concerned, well, I'm in a fairly saturated market that's continuing to grow. New kids on the block are coming in all the time. How do
Mhm.
I know that one of my competitors isn't already in here? And then we're going to end up having the same voices, right? We're putting out the same content and
Yeah.
we have the same eyes on us too. So do you like, is there an application like what does this look like?
Yeah. So, gosh, it's such a good question. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think I could have created this, like even 5 years ago or 7 years ago, because I understood that, but I didn't have as many clients as I do now, one-on-one clients, right, that we've been building wedding businesses for.
Yeah.
And I don't think I would have thought of that. I'll be honest with you. But because I am in the position that I am in now, and I more so understand saturation, especially in Texas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is all stuff that has been built into the venue marketing machine. And that's one of the ways I take information from, right? I'm going to hit you with it. I just said, like, I'm not out there researching all the AI tools, but you can bet I'm going to implement them because now I'm learning them. So, one of the things I've taken from the people that I learn AI from is how to filter out like saturation in each person's market. And so there is an application process. And so when somebody applies to the venue marketing machine, I just feed it into like I've given it zip codes into all of these like markets that you and I know because we are
Yeah.
venue consultants. And so I feed like the zip codes into it, and then I can see like, oh, I already have 5 people there, or I have 2 people there, or they can come in. Or these like, you're the first one, congratulations. Here's the
Yeah.
key. Here's the key. Competition, like I'm a capitalist, I don't mind saying that. Competition is incredibly healthy, and the onus is on you to actually make sure you are writing in your own voice. That's why a content calendar usually doesn't help people because they're still in the decision fatigue, like sort of echo chamber of, okay, well, now how do I write this? That's the second part of the venue marketing machine is me teaching you how to take this content calendar that I give you on a quarterly basis and insert it into your own voice. It's a copy paste situation, but it's not a copy paste situation. It is as close
Right.
to copy paste as you can get with inputting your own voice, and you've got to. Otherwise, yes, on the back end, application process, yes or no. And then we put you, it's not a no forever. It's also like, hey, we're just going to put you on a waiting room because we know we have a churn, right? That's the nature of
Yeah.
memberships. And so if somebody churns out of like this zip code area that I've designated, I'll just let you know and be like, hey, it's your turn. Do you want to come on in? It's like getting a library book that you put on the wait list for yourself.
I love that so much. Okay, so where do they go again? Say the website.
Thevenuemarketingmachine.com.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, thanks for asking. You guys are
Yeah.
going to love it. You're going to love it. I can almost guarantee you that. I built it for us, for venue owners, by venue owners. And I think that, like I said, if you're someone who needs to increase your bookings, if you're someone who needs accountability, if you're someone who needs to sort of like pull yourself out of that like comfy group that never pushes you, again, not because they're bad, but just because they're your buddies, and you want to get into a group in a room, a virtual room where people are holding you accountable, but they're not your besties, and you can have that level of respect and that connection on a higher level. That's the venue marketing machine.
Yeah, I love it. And guys, we'll drop the direct link in the show notes for you. But go check it out. See what it's about.
Thank you guys so much. As always, I am Kinsey Roberts.
And I'm Lindsay Lucas. Together we are the Venue Podcast.
Bye, guys.